Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You're now listening to the Championship on the Line podcast. I'm Alex with my co-host Rich, and we have a special episode of Knockout. We have a very special guest. This guy's fought all over the world. He's fought in the UFC, WEC, everywhere. He is Mr. International, Shonie Carter. Thank you so much, Shonie, for being with us.
Hey, it is my pleasure, my esteemed privilege, and honor to be here.
Yeah, I mean, once again, thank you, man. It's an honor to have you. You're a legend in the sport. And it's crazy because I was looking up, like, some of the things you've done. You pretty much done everything. Like, what is one thing you haven't done? I mean, you pretty much done everything.
I'm actually greedy, and I was looking back, because I've been going through a bunch of crazy stuff. We're going to get to the interview. I don't know how much time y'all got, but there's a lot that's going on.
Oh, yeah. Whatever you want to talk about, we have plenty of time for you, sir.
I don't know. I really don't know where to even start. Good grief.
But I just want to, I just wanted to start, like, what got you into martial arts? What was the first thing you did with martial arts?
The first thing was wrestling in high school. And I never took a day off. Even when the season ended, I kept going. Because in the humblest beginnings, I wrestled at Proviso East High School in Maywood, Illinois. Tough team in the times. Fourth in his freshman year is a team state. Third in team state. What was it? Fourth, third, first, third. I forget how we did, but we placed all 4 years of high school as a team. And essentially, I was a backup. And because I never earned an individual state title, I kept going because it was just a question unanswered. So I would say wrestling, then college. After high school, I went to the U.S. Marines. I got then I was at home. Then I went in the Radio Shack. That was before your time. Mm-hmm. And it preceded Best Buy.
Yes.
And literally, I got tired of Radio Shack, so I took a lunch break at 10:30 in the morning. Giggle. I told my mom I'll be right back. And I went and registered for college. Walked on campus at Triton Community College. Found the wrestling room. Came back after work. Told the wrestling coach, I'm going to be your next national qualifier All-American. I'm trying to make the Olympics. I'm trying to make some world teams. Everybody was laughing because, you don't know who the hell I am because I joined the Marines after high school. So I said, I'll be right back. I walked into the locker room, changed clothes, came back out, told the 150-pounder, told the coach, hey, you're fired. I was before Donald Trump. It literally, I took the 150-pounder spot. Because I'm now coming out the Marines, I'm a little bit older. My mindset is a little bit grinded down. So I was a national qualifier. I made 2 world teams out of junior college. 4th in the nation in junior college. Earned a scholarship, wrestled at Triton College. Started taking judo. Placed 4th at the 96 Olympic trials for Greco-Roman wrestling. I took judo for 1 semester in college. I won the white belt to the green, the brown belt division, and placed 2nd in the black belt division in 1 day, losing to a 5th degree black belt who also did Greco-Roman. So that's the beginnings of my soft beginnings.
Man,
state titles, 2 state titles and a runner-up in 1 day. Inside of 6 months, I got promoted from white belt to brown belt in less than 6 months in judo.
I mean, wow. I mean, that's incredible, man.
That's the beginning.
Yeah, because many people, stick to one martial art and, take some years. You're doing it, in a couple of years, learning so many different, martial arts from judo to wrestling and so many others, and you're accomplishing a lot.
took jiu-jitsu as well.
Wow.
I actually did a seminar. Well, I was a part of a seminar where Higa Machado, he actually came to Knoxville, Tennessee, and I did a seminar with him. This was the mid-90s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So when doing like jiu-jitsu, because at the time that's when it was kind of barely starting, what was it like training with Machado?
It was really a struggle because listening to the Portuguese accent from jiu-jitsu, and then a country draw from my judo instructor, and coming from the west side of Chicago, the homeboy number one in Tennessee was hilarious. And I laughed because all the buddies around the dorms had brought this tape, UFC 1. And because I was doing judo and jiu-jitsu, I knew what Hoist was doing. And nobody thought I could really fight. Because I was the guy on campus who tucks his shirt in and wears collared sleeves and cufflinks and walks with his ass up tight.
Yeah.
I was that guy. Who the hell wears suspenders to class? I was that guy. And I was an art major, walking around like I was a college professor. Subsequent to that, I still do what I think. After they challenged me to a fight, like everybody in the dorm challenged me, we had this one guy, and you can ask me, this is 10, 20 years ago. I'll tell you the same damn story. He was a kung fu guy who thought he could whoop everybody's ass. He's from Africa. His name was Yabala Benga Freddy. Not Freddy Yabala Benga. His name was Yabala Benga Freddy. And everybody was worried because, the whole mystique between the black guy from Africa, he does kung fu. I said, Nate Kung Fu Cha to him. And he would get so pissed. And everybody's like, what are you saying to him? I said, yo, kung fu no good here. And he was like, what that's not Chinese. No, it's Korean. So everybody knew that I was a nut job on campus. Drove a 76 Chevy Nova, doing jiu-jitsu and judo and trying to do Greco-Roman at the same damn time.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, like, with all these styles, did that make you want to do MMA to get into a fight, to fight other people with different styles?
Now, here's the thing. MMA was not yet invented. It was NHB, no holds barred.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was ranking over the booth. I'm like, okay, I get it. And it was not until I went back home after college, I met master instructor Bob Sherman. And then he introduced me to his combat dojo jiu-jitsu way of doing things. And he had a thing against the Gracies, Carlson Gracie Sr. and Jr. He actually fought Carlson Jr. to a draw.
Wow.
And literally, I didn't understand what the beef was. It was just school versus school at that time. And I ended up fighting one of his premier fighters, Daniel Viana, to a draw in Chicago. And they were like, who the hell is this guy that's going to go with the Brazilians? I'm like, man, it's no big. He choked the shit out of me, but I wouldn't tap him chokes. So, subsequent to that particular fight, I would do kickboxing, American kickboxing, the old school kickboxing with the long pants. So then I did that. I did Greek gladiatorial combat called pancration. I won the state, the regional, the national, and then the two-time world team member. We actually went for the Pan Am Games. I won the gold medals there, beat the Lions there. Then I went over to Greece at the World Championships and beat the Greeks in Greek gladiatorial combat. so far. That's judo, that's Greco-Roman. I'm sorry, folk style wrestling, Greco-Roman, freestyle wrestling, judo, jiu-jitsu, pancration. That's 6. I'm not done. I got time with pancration because there's a lot of politics. I don't do politics. So then Bob and I flipped script. He's an instructor. I would argue with him all the time, but I still love the old man. So we got invited to China before the Beijing Olympics. We were in Greece before the Greece Olympics. We went to China before the Beijing Olympics. We were the first professional athletes to compete in Red China. We did Fan Shao. You may have heard that from Kung Lee.
Yes.
So I won the gold medal in this America versus China match. Only 2 of us won a gold medal. James Cook, I believe he's out of Oklahoma, and myself. And they robbed Oscar Bravo, who later ended up boxing, fighting. He got knocked out by James Toney, but he made it to James Toney. So that gives you an idea how good Oscar was. So I won the gold medal in Fan Shao. That's 7. Right?
Yes.
7. I then got introduced to Shotokan Karate under Shion Eddie Yoshimoto of the World Shotokan Organization. That's that bare knuckle rules knockdown karate that's real brutal, like the Kyokushin style.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up earning a black belt in that as well. There's a black belt in Combat Do Jiu-Jitsu, a brown belt in Judo, a 4th degree black belt in Pancration. So I did this, I'm now a 2nd degree black belt in Shotokan Karate, which uses 2 rounds of bare knuckle karate, 2 rounds of Muay Thai, full rules, no modified rules of anything. Knees and elbows and throws and sweeps. Then you go for 2 more rounds of MMA. So you do 3 different styles of fighting in one fight in an 8-man tournament. I won that 3 times and won a world title once in the MMA division. So that was Shotokan, trained in that. Kyokushin, I've trained in that. Shotokan, Kyokushin. That's what, 9?
Yes. Yeah, we're counting. It's 9.
Okay, good. I'm glad somebody's keeping up, because I can't. So then I've done MMA, that's 10. I lost my first fight in MMA. Very first fight to Laverne Clark.
Mm-hmm.
Got TKO'd in 9 seconds. I then went on a 25-match winning streak.
Yes.
It was not until I lost to Pat Miletich. No, before that. I knocked out Chad Cox, then fought Pat Miletich. I got robbed in that decision. That was in the first fight. And I fought him in a baseball ring. In a baseball diamond in a boxing ring in Davenport, Iowa. Went the distance. I scored the only takedown, out-punched and kicked him. And still lost. I then got sent over to Pancrase in Tokyo, Japan. Yeah, that's right. You got me thinking. So that's that. Then, of course, I've done Shorei-Ryu, Sanusi-Ryu, which is, you don't know what that martial art is. That's the one you've seen in the movie Blade with Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
Akijitsu, which is throws and drum manipulations.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how many is that? Shit.
Is that 11 now? Yeah, you're at...
11 or 12?
It's 12 right now.
Okay, yeah, I've done that. Oh, then I got back into boxing, because I was boxing. That's 13. But then I started doing bare knuckle boxing. Somebody got to go to the bathroom. I come out. I was doing the interview. Yeah. So I did bare knuckle boxing. That's what, 13 or 14?
14.
14. Good grief.
A lot.
Yeah. So that's 14. Essentially, relearning, because I'm thinking about going into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because I'm not Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. So, yeah, I'm sure I'm forgetting something else I did. But the idea of martial arts, it was because of Bruce Lee, more so. It was actually more Muhammad Ali. Yeah, hey, man. It was Muhammad Ali that got me started into martial arts. So, yeah. Bare knuckle boxing, freestyle, folk style, Greco-Roman, judo, jiu-jitsu, Akijitsu, submission row, Senshao, pancration. Oh, Sanda, Sanda. That's another inert martial art that I do. And people have asked me how many black belts I have. Well, I have 7 black belts in different disciplines. All my black belts are 2nd degree to 5th degree. So Jason Bourne, John Wick, and Bernie Mac have a little brother. That's me.
I'm speechless because it's very, very impressive how many disciplines you've done. And
well, it's fun. Like when I watch the no-gi grappling, and I'm going to start grappling again. I'm telling the students now I'm going to compete again in the new breed submission tournament to try to win another belt. So I'm going to do, and I've done Muay Thai. That's the other one. Duh. Yeah, I've done that. Yeah.
I think now we're at
So there you
16.
go, 15. That's 15, right?
I have it 16.
16. Oh, shit.
So I wanted to ask, how was, keeping up the pace? You've done so many disciplines. Was it difficult, doing so many?
What it is that I know how to train hard and train smart.
Mm-hmm. And you think that's what some of the new guys are lacking, like training smarter and harder?
Yeah. I mean, it's okay to train hard, but you got to know how to regulate your hard output versus your smart output. And I guess it's just because of the idea of learning and not having an ego, so I can have a higher fight IQ. And that's the thing, is that you have to have an IQ for what it is that you're doing, not just go out there, punchy, kicky, throwy, chokey, joint manipulate. You got to be able to be a dry sponge. A wet sponge is saturated. That's arrogance. Always remain a dry sponge.
No, that's really great advice. Yeah. Because Alex and I, we do a little bit of martial arts, and we see guys coming in, they're new, but have a little bit of experience, and right away are trying to take over. So, well, I already know how to do this. I already do this. And they're not being a sponge, and trying to absorb it.
Right. Let's say I come to your school.
Yes.
You say, Shonie, would you mind wearing a white belt? Because I'm like, all right, cool. I'll leave my belt in the bag and work out with it. Give me that white belt because I ain't had one. Years. And won't mind. I'm actually in a rather strange scenario because let's say if I were to go into the Brazilian method and they give me a white belt, I will be in that dojo wearing that white belt and not having a problem with it. Now, then we get to announce a tournament. What do I do? Because once Shonie Carter registers, they say, what you mean Shonie's a white belt? He's been wearing a black belt since the 90s. Well, he's doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu now. Mm. Well, here's the problem. I don't know how to undo what I've been doing for now 3 decades and 4 years.
Yes, it's very true.
Yeah, I mean, I'll roll modestly and do what you tell me to do to drill. I don't care. But I've competed in, would you say, 16 martial arts?
Yes.
That's nuts.
No, it really
it's
is.
Crazy. I mean, just 16, like, oh, man, it's just...
Yeah, a lot of people get overwhelmed by 1 or 2.
No, It's fun and easy to me.
You like...
If they come up with something else, like, I don't know what kids they come up with. Well, there is left way, which is nuts.
Yeah, it's not...
Left way...
Oh, no, go ahead.
Have you heard about that?
No, not... Have you...
It's literally Muay Thai boxing, bare knuckle Muay Thai boxing, including headbutts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's nuts.
Yeah, because Alex and I were sitting here, and before the show, we had research earlier in the week, and it's impressive enough you're 16, different disciplines, but the championships you won. I mean, we go from, the Ireland Super Cup champion to the, Shadokan Super Fight. The list goes on.
Yeah. And I giggle because I'll do it and go to work on Monday and come back the next day. Shy of an injury. And I don't care because I want you to know that I'm okay and I work out with you and be modest about it. There's always stuff, like I call this other stuff new jitsu because I'm watching class right now and they doing some old hoochie-juichi way of grappling. And I'm like, I'm used to grabbing people, throwing them to the ground. Then we roll.
Yes.
But it's okay. I mean, I'm learning about X guard and worm guard and Barambolos and old school De La Hiva, which actually learned the De La Hiva half guard from De La Hiva. I used to happen to new. Back in the day, there was the clothing line, Affliction.
Yes.
I'm still friends with Tom Atencio, the owner, creator of Affliction.
Oh, wow.
I used to get free clothes from him, and I would go to his 500,000 square foot warehouse and just go shopping for free clothes. He would mail me stuff. And then he would have a workout gym inside his warehouse. And I was like, who's that little Brazilian? It's us, De La Hiva. Who? Then they had me go and work out with me, taught me De La Hiva. I'm like, oh, okay. I go back so far, even in the midst of the mid-age years, I was training with Glover Teixeira before he made to the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
When he was with the pit fight team with Chuck Liddell when he was the champion. I was a sparring partner for Glover Teixeira and Chuck Liddell, even though I was a 170-pounder. And
what was it like training with those guys?
It was fun because he couldn't keep up with me. I was so much faster. And I'm a southpaw.
What do you think? No, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. What you say?
Oh yeah, training with Chuck Liddell's a legend, and Glover Teixeira. What do you think how his career is ending up right now? Teixeira, he had his shot versus John Jones, and then his career is sort of a comeback. He's in a winning streak, and he's pretty much the next one in line for the lightweight championship.
Yeah, he was so smooth and trippy cool. We used to laugh while rolling because he was kicking my ass. But I didn't care. So was Comprito. Comprito was the same way with me. Rodrigo Medeiros, he was Brock Lesnar's grappling coach.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
When he came to, I was trying to get him to belt me. He's like, "Oh, Sean, you don't need these." I'm like, "Come on, man, I need a Brazilian belt." Every time I see him, we still laugh about it. I said, "See, now it's too late. Damn it." But it is what it is. I'm now in a purgatory of pugilism.
Oh yeah, I'm listening to everything you're saying, and I really like how I admire that you're saying that you observe everything like a sponge, and you're open to everyone, and that you're just having fun. And
that's all it is.
Yeah.
I've made money. I've won title belts while having fun. And essentially, that's how I've always treated it. Just have fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's been the ugly parts, and if you want, ask me any question. I'll tell you. It'll lead, because you ask me a question, it's going to lead into another adventure. Anyway.
Oh, yes. No, we enjoy it. Keep
that's
the ball rolling, Something I want to ask, you fought in Pancrase in Japan. How was that experience over there?
Dude, that was so damn cool. If America needs to take a lesson on how to do a show.
Yes.
Dude, I remember, because I hadn't lost a fight in Pancrase until I lost to Nate Marquardt by decision in double overtime. And even that was controversial, but literally they would pay, not just, when I'm saying cash is generic. They were so time-oriented, literally. They were so organized. It was insane. all the $100 bills be facing the same damn direction.
Wow.
And when they started the fight at 18:32, I remember I was in the ring one time at 1800, 6 o'clock. That referee stopped and looked up at the clock, and we had to stand in the ring and wait for 2 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Before he said, Hajime.
And you think that do you like that compared to how they run it in the States?
Oh man, I love how they run.
And like, how was it like with the culture over there and the fans over there?
That was this damn phone. Hold up, my phone acting up.
That's fine.
All right, I'm back.
I was saying, how was like the culture over there in Japan and like the fans over there compared to here?
The fans were so polite and proper, and it was really cool because they would have autographed signature boards. I ain't talking about a piece of paper. I'm talking like a crafted, damn near, I wouldn't say cardboard, but they had like gold embossed silk-like material where you sign with a special Sharpie for an autograph. They were just so, oh my goodness, I've got nothing bad to say about Japanese culture. Even one time, this is a true story, my friend Rolando Higueros, we went to when there were arcades. Their video games are way better than ours.
Oh, yes.
So we went to arcades. I knew about it from previous trips. I took him to the game. Well, somehow he misplaced his wallet. Wow, there.
Yes.
I said, don't trip on me. He was freaking out. He's Guatemalan Mexican in Japan. He's the same height with black hair, brown eyes. So I had to keep my eye on him because he's the same damn height as everybody else.
Yeah.
Didn't want to lose him. Lost Guatemala in Japan. Sounds like a movie. But no, literally, we walked back to the hotel. His wallet was there with all of his money, credit cards, debit, ID, everything. And they even apologized for not finding us sooner.
Wow. No, that's something.
Yeah, I mean, no.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's nothing but a boring, honest to God, great culture.
No, I hear the stories of other fighters saying the same thing, and I feel like the fans seem a little more educated and, like you said, more respectful compared to the fans in the States.
Oh my God! I remember one fight. I didn't fight my buddy Brian Gassaway was fighting down in Florida, and he all whooped this one guy's ass bad, and they didn't give him the decision. They paid him as if he won.
Yeah.
But here or there, going into the fight, the ring announcer was telling they were talking about the rules to the fans.
Mm-hmm.
This ring announcer said the rules. He said no fighting and blah blah blah. That type of shit.
Yeah.
He then said, please. This time, we would like to ask the audience to refrain from urinating on the floor.
Oh my God.
I said, where the fuck are we when someone would tell the audience, don't piss on the floor?
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't respond to that's amazing. Yeah, that's crazy and terrible.
At the same damn time.
Wow.
And conversely, in Florida,
yeah,
I don't have a bad time ever. Let me get a funny one. I fought UFC 22 against Brandon Gunn,
yes,
the Boston Invitational champion. So everybody was going to submit me or beat me real quick. I threw him 13 times in a 2-round fight in my first UFC. The next morning, I got up, packed my bags, and flew down to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and fought with a Shonie Carter 8-man bare-knuckle karate tournament the very next day.
Jeez.
The week before the UFC, I I did a jiu-jitsu tournament, got my elbow dislocated, I went tap. So I wore football sleeves. Now I was against Adrian Serrano, UFC 28, not 22. That was Adrian Serrano.
Yes.
So, literally, the week before, I dislocated my elbow. I bought those lineman sleeves to hold my elbows in, to hide it. I beat Adrian Serrano by unanimous decision, who was 20 pounds overweight for the weight division. So I lost the jiu-jitsu tournament, beat Adrian Serrano, flew down the floor the next day, fought an 8-minute tournament, made it to the finals. 3 fights one day, 4 fights in less than 24 hours. I gave TKO in the finals against Shonie Carter, Mohamed Kino, in the finals. We leave the venue. The instructor, he didn't pay me for second place. I then went and did, they used to do underground fights down in Miami. I fought one guy in Miami while after coming off the UFC, a jiu-jitsu tournament, and a bare knuckle karate tournament, all in one weekend.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
This is why I laugh about the bad motherfucker belts. I'm like, where's mine, son of a bitches?
That is.
Literally, outside of that, I used to do underground fights under contract, and I've got mine on VHS tape, which is times. I've done 6 fights in one night.
Oh my gosh.
I like how you're doing 3 to 6 fights a night, and then going to the UFC, and then doing another tournament. I mean, how are you doing this? A lot of fighters now complain that they only want to fight 3 times a year, and you're doing this like it's nothing.
Yeah, hell, one year I think I won like 7 title belts in a year because I was fighting so much. I was a state champion, amateur state champion in kickboxing. I won the Extreme Challenge lightweight title, and when they were feeding the UFC under Monty Cox and Pat Miletich, Matt Hughes, and essentially I laughed because I fought in the 4-man tournament, won that tournament, won the Extreme Challenge belt, and even going into the Matt Serra fight, which everybody keeps talking about, they thought he was going to submit me in 30 seconds. Not really respecting the fact that I was a collegiate All-American, tried out for the Olympics, 2 world teams, and Greco-Roman. Spending the summer, we got an Olympic gold medalist in Greco-Roman wrestling.
I want to ask, especially back then it was different, the contracts, guys can't really do as much because once you sign a UFC contract, you pretty much belong to them. But now
Right.
some of them are doing, jiu-jitsu tournaments. They're allowed to do jiu-jitsu tournaments or wrestling matches. Do you think, guys should start doing that often, to sharpen their tools and be more active?
You should be allowed to.
Yeah.
I mean, because you can get hurt in practice. If you go to a tournament, so what? You ain't.
Yeah. I totally agree. Yeah, back to what you mentioned, the Matt Serra fight. You did the spinning back fist.
Yeah.
And
He wasn't the first one. He was the cheap.
But what made me a fan of you is that you could do anything. Like your stand up was on point, and then you had your wrestling skills, and then you had your judo. Like you always did the belly to belly toss, and then spinning back fist. Like it made me a fan of you because you were very tricky. You could do wrestling, you could take them down, you could do jiu-jitsu, or even your stand up.
Pretty much one of the early well-rounded fighters.
And that's what I always wanted to be with. I'm on this journey. And literally, what I mean on a journey, not a trip. A trip is a destination. I'm on a journey. So, let me explain. January 16th is a jiu-jitsu tournament. I'm going to do that.
Yes.
Then, maybe in February, tournament and the judo tournament. The jiu-jitsu tournament because it looks like the UFC belt. The judo tournament because it looks like Captain America's shield.
Oh, nice.
And the TBAs is the Muay Thai national because I want another Muay Thai belt. And literally, I want to show the full circle of discipline in martial arts as a samurai. That's why I do what I do. And so I can't do anymore. I didn't teach because I figured I enjoyed giving away what was given to me. I have an innate, innumerable amount of knowledge to pass on to the next generation. That's why I do seminars.
Yes.
In early years when I was in the UFC, I didn't know about how to get followers on Instagram or Facebook. I'm still trying to figure out who can set that algorithm to give me 200 million followers like The Rock. Because I mean, literally, the new generation, like I was just in a Valley Flow or VFS in the main school. Bilal Muhammad trains there. Macy Barber,
nice.
Claudia was there. And I did 9 5-minute rounds out of shape. And I'm 48.
Yeah.
Well, once I get in shape again, back to from 220 to 175 to 185, I'm going to keep competing. I mean, Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. did it. Why not me?
No, of course.
If anybody wants to follow me, go right ahead on Instagram or Facebook. Or if y'all know how to get me up to 1 million followers or 200 million followers, if you know Dwayne Johnson, tell him to call me. Send me a message. I need that algorithm. But the crazy part is that, well, many crazy things is that in the circle of what I do, what I'm a part of, there was a lot of skeptics in what I think. It felt so over the top. Like, I really wish I thought to take pictures with President Trump and former President Barack Obama. Yeah. Could you imagine that should have been my profile picture?
What was that again?
When I met former President Barack Obama and President Trump.
Yes.
I never thought to take a picture. I've met 3 governors of Illinois. I've climbed the pyramid of Giza.
Oh, wow.
I wrestled a bear in Russia. The Russians won't release the footage.
And why is that?
Because I'm here to tell you that I wrestled a bear.
I mean, like, the more you say, like, you've done it all. And like you said, you know, these kids these days, you know, they look at certain people and they look at, you know, the older fighters and all they care is about the followers. You know, oh, he only has 1,000 and this guy has, you know, 200 or whatever, you know, 20 million. And Alex...
It's actually nuts because people wonder where all those belts come from. Like, I was winning fights before there were websites. I got them on VHS. I'm trying to get all the footage digitized.
Nice. No,
so I can put it on my own website, YouTube. Brother, speaking of YouTube, I've got these guys yanking footage. So far, I've got 3 flash drives, 16 gigabytes, that have 143 videos of me on YouTube. I never knew there was that much shit out there. I didn't even know that the UFC Fight Pass had 66 of my fights.
Oh, wow.
Right. One of them guys that only a few people have known about.
I mean,
and like when you see me somewhere with all these damn belts, now here the new athletes trying to fight for a belt. I'm like, that's a cheap start. Remember when, what was the boy's name? Kobe Covington? What was the one UFC chick? Not just Conor or Amanda.
Kobe Covington?
No, not Covington.
Kamaru Usman?
No, not the new one. he retired. Henry, no, he was the little guy. He was a little better.
Henry Cejudo?
Henry Cejudo. And he was talking about how he was doing it big with 2 UFC belts. Like, that's cute. That's a good start, son.
Yeah.
That's a good start. Kobe the same thing. I'm like, that's a cute start. You got 1 belt. That's cute. God bless you. Catch up.
Yeah, because when we were looking at all your pictures, and Alex was like, "Look at this picture." I'm like, "No, I know that picture with you sitting with all your championships."
Oh, you hear something hilarious about that?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
won 7 more after that photo was taken.
11 more.
Oh my gosh.
No, 7 more.
And what do you have? Oh, go ahead.
And people were like, wait, who are you? I'm like, really, motherfucker? But I giggle. I never get mad about it. I just laugh.
Yeah, because Alex and I, we're we're younger guys our age, but we love boxing and MMA so much that we go, with the beginning of it. And we say names like you and Chris Lytle and Jens Pulver, the list goes on. And they're like, oh, well, who are that guys?
Yeah. A monster.
Oh, yes.
I fought him in Japan and beat him, but he was rough. He was a guy who I never wanted to rematch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's...
The thing is that people don't even know that. I mean, he was something else. They went to overtime with him as well when I fought.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, like going back to that, the kids, like you're saying, people just look more to social media, and we're saying, no, all those guys we just mentioned, they're the ones. There's a reason why there's a Conor McGregor, and like you said, Cejudo and Kamaru Usman. They're there because of you guys. And I feel like the new fans, are not educated enough to remember you guys.
Exactly.
I talk to fans and I'll mention, names, and they even forget, guys like not even that long ago, like Tudor Ortiz or, like I said, just over Matt Hughes, and like, oh, Hughes? I'm like, yes, he was a former lightweight champion. Oh, yeah. Like, no, it's not all about just McGregor and, all the new fighters. Like, someone built this sport, and these are the guys,
And you're one of them,
I remember too what I laugh about. They've inducted so many of the new generation really good guys, but they think about the guys who put that, sacrifice that time and soul, spirit and body into the entire sport. They inducted Matt Serra into the Hall of Fame. I'm the guy who knocked him out with a spinning backfist.
Yeah.
I used the karate technique to beat a world-class jiu-jitsu guy. They induct him because he beat GSP. GSP rematches him and beats the hell out of him.
Yes.
Chris Lytle beat the hell out of Matt Serra so bad, he had to take a 6-month suspension. And they still gave Matt Serra the decision.
No, yes, I remember that, yeah.
But also, like, I wanted to talk about also, like, you were the WEC welterweight champion. What were your experiences like in that title fight also?
But before you answer that, looks like it's going to be part 2. So, Champ, if you could just hold on for a second.